Now to the latest on the legal drama surrounding former President Donald Trump. In New York, a court spokesperson said the judge overseeing Trump's civil fraud trial may not release his verdict until mid-February. The judge was originally expected to announce his decision by the end of January. This comes as the New York Times reports former chief financial officer Allen Weisselberg is negotiating a deal with Manhattan prosecutors to plead guilty to perjury for lying on the stand during Trump's recent civil fraud trial. Meantime, the Washington Post reports Trump's March 4th trial date in the federal election interference case has been dropped from the public calendar of the federal court in Washington. With us now to talk more about this, Glenn Kirshner, a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst. He is also host of the Justice Matters podcast. So, Glenn, great seeing you always. What's behind the move for the Washington federal court there?
Yeah, Jose, when I saw the reporting that the March 4 trial date has apparently dropped off the public docket, I mean, that kind of reinforces, I think, what we all know at this point. There's going to be some delay. The appellate court in D.C. has not yet resolved the absolute immunity issue, though we're expecting an opinion any day now. But even once they issue that opinion, Trump will have the opportunity to petition for a rehearing en banc, meaning all of the appellate court judges sitting. Of course, he also did that in the gag order case, and they unanimously rejected that rehearing. But the thing is, all of this is going to take some time. So it seems like a trial date 1 month from right now on March 4th is increasingly unrealistic. So that trial date will almost certainly get pushed down the road a little bit.
And say, Glenn, will that have an impact on any of Trump's other cases?
You know, potentially it will free him up for his backup auxiliary criminal trial, which is scheduled to begin March 25th in New York. Of course, that is the falsification of business records case brought by District Attorney Alvin Bragg. And some people would observe, well, that's just, doctoring some business records. I would actually call that an election interference case, because we know he was doctoring those business records to hide the fact that he was making hush money payments to try to bury relevant information from the American voters, really, in a very true sense, robbing the American voters of the full value of their votes. So it's not just falsifying business records to, maybe avoid paying some taxes. It rather is to deprive the American voters of information that they were entitled to have about, who they might want to vote for president.
And so, Glenn, with all these cases, do the courts work together or in any way coordinate, like scheduling issues?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're not required to, but they often do. And I can say that based on my own experience as a prosecutor, having defendants who had criminal cases in multiple jurisdictions. But also, Judge Chutkan publicly once announced during a hearing that she had been in contact with Judge Merchan up in New York about the March 25th trial date when she was contemplating setting the March 4 trial date. So we have some concrete information about how judges across jurisdictional lines do often talk with one another and coordinate on the setting of trial dates.
And Allen Weisselberg seems to be like a recurring character in some of these cases. What kind of a witness is he?
Not a very good one, because he's now facing perjury charges for allegedly having lied in the civil fraud trial that was being presided over by Judge Engoron. And, Jose, we don't know if there is any relationship between these two stories. Judge Engoron pushing a couple of weeks down the road, issuing his ruling in that case, and the fact that it looks like Allen Weisselberg, a witness in that case, may be charged with perjury. But it makes some sense, because before Judge Engoron goes final on his ruling and issues his opinion, he probably wants to have as much information as he can about whether one of the witnesses who testified before him in the case may have committed perjury. Because if he relied on some of the testimony of Allen Weisselberg, he's going to want to make sure that the ruling he ultimately issues is untainted by any of those lies.